Hi, I'm Robert. Welcome back to another on the road video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Today we're working on a Crosley washing machine, replacing the damping straps or damping rods. Suspension rods is another term for them. The complaint on it was that the tub seemed to be banging around loose inside the unit. When we opened the lid, we could clearly see that the whole assembly was dipped down on this corner further than it was anywhere else, and the unit did not seem to set equally within the opening. So, to begin this repair, you must first gain access to the rear of the unit. Stop. Before you begin any repair, unplug the appliance from the wall outlet. It is also recommended that you check for proper voltage. Remember to also turn off the water. The tools required to complete this repair is a 1/4-inch nut driver. Now that we have access to the rear of the unit, we're going to undo the 2 screws that hold the top on and the single screw here that holds the harness cover in place. Then we're going to remove all the perimeter screws that holds the back panel in place after we remove the drain hose. These are all 1/4-inch X screws. I'm going to take our channel locks and move the clamp back. Pull the drain hose off. Remove the 1/4-inch screw that holds that drain stub in place, and then depress the clip and push it through. Now we'll move to the other side and get the remaining perimeter screws. I'm supporting the back with my arm so it doesn't fall over. Switch hands. Just lean it back and slide it up, and the back panel is removed. Now that we have everything cleared back here so we can see what we're accessing as far as the damping rods go, we're going to turn the unit back around. Now with the harness cover plate and the 2 screws out in the back top, we can slide the top forward, lift up, push back, and the top will lift right up. All right, so very important, we don't want to damage the top of the unit. So we're going to take a moving blanket and drape it over the top. So now, when we lean it back, it'll rest against the moving blanket. So now what we're going to do is we're going to reach down and grasp the rod and pull up on it and drop down the little support that it sits in and feed it down through the friction cup that the support sits in. And then we'll pop the friction cup out because your suspension rod kit comes with new friction cups. And as you can see, they're hooked at the bottom, so you just kind of pop them out of place and lift up on it. We'll set that aside. Now on this side, I'm going to tilt the washer back on the back rods and pull up on this side, and then get the retainer out and slide that rod down through the friction cup, and then remove the friction cup by pushing in on the little plastic clips and pushing up. Now we'll set the top back down. And we're going to move the washer forward enough so that we can get it leaned back against the wall. Now, what we need to do is lift on the tub and slide the suspension rod out of its hole in the side of the tub. And then we'll repeat that process on the other side. Okay, so now we'll set that rod aside and we'll get this side started. Now we'll do the opposite side. Carefully bring the unit down to the floor and flip the top back up. Now the first step is to install your new friction cups, one on each side. Just pop in. Now, just so you can see, this is grooved. We're going to have to bring the suspension rod up and then get it locked in here and through this channel, and then turn it and drop it in. So we're going to tilt the tub assembly up, grasp the rod, and pick up on the rod and the tub assembly and bring it up through the friction cup. Like so. Now we'll repeat that process on the other side. Before we begin the rear suspension rods, I just want you to take note. We can see just how bad off the suspension rods were with the position of the front of the tub with the new rods versus the position of the rear of the tub with the old rods. You can clearly see that we're at least about an inch low in the rear. So now we're going to repeat the process on the rears that we did in the front, and we're going to grasp the rod and pull up, drop down the retainer and slide it off and allow the rod to slide through the friction cup. Now we'll pop the friction cup out and we'll go to the other side and repeat that process. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set the top back down and turn the unit around so that we can now lean it forward against the wall. Now with the unit propped forward, let's go ahead and remove our suspension rods in the rear. Now we'll replace the rods. Now what we're going to do is take these rods and bring them all the way up so that we can hang them on the lip of the tub. And now we can set the unit back down, spin it back around, flip the top, and get those suspension rods connected. Now, you can use 2 pieces of 4x4 cut to size, or you could use something like this. I've got an empty storage bin from my shelving in my van. I'm going to set that underneath the motor assembly on the bottom of the tub, and that's going to hold the tub up so that I can easily continue the repair. I'm going to lift up on the entire assembly and get that bucket under there. Now I can easily move the rod right up through. I can connect my retainer, rotate it around, and then let it drop back down into the friction cup. And then we'll go to the other side and repeat that process. And next, we will remove the bucket from underneath. And let the assembly set back down. And now we're ready to flip the top back down and get that put back together. Now you want to reach underneath and support the lid. Bring the top assembly forward. You can drop your blanket, lift it off the tabs, and set it down. And then you have to align these pins with slots here and here on the top. And once it's sitting flush and those pins are in the slots, push back. And now we'll get to the back and reinstall the back panel, the harness cover, and the screws that keep the top in place. First thing we want to do is get the cord up out of the way, because we don't want to accidentally get it stuck behind this panel. The panel itself has 2 hooks on the bottom of it that fit onto this lip in these wells. And we want to get our drain hose reinstalled. And then we'll move the panel back and just make sure that these are affixed in their locking race. Now, once you get the panel in place, you want to get at least 1 screw in the top corner. And note that this screw is not pointed. It's almost flattened off at the end, and it's a coarse thread. This is the plastic mounting screw that goes into the mounting base of the drain hose. So now we don't have to worry about that coming out, and we'll lock down this screw that we put in the corner and continue replacing the screws on the perimeter of the rear cover. And we'll move over to the other side. And now we'll put one into the back of the top. And then on the other side in the top. And now we will reinstall our harness cover. 2 tabs into the slots, fold it over, and install our 1/4-inch screw. And that completes the repair. Thank you for watching another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.